Tonight, we're going to talk about Space 220. It's opening up tomorrow. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff coming for the 50th. We're really getting excited about that. And we're going to look at D23 Expo 2019 and where are all those projects now on ParksCenter. Hey everybody, I'm your host Rob Whiteside. Welcome to ParksCenter for September 19th, 2021. We got a great panel of stuff to talk about today, and if you're going to have a great panel of stuff, you need some great panelists. And so apparently, though, we're not going to get to talk to those folks because I can't find them. There they are. Hey, it's Eric Morton, Mr. Backward
Hello,
Hat
Rob.
Guy.
I wore it backward just for you.
You know what? I always appreciate anything I can do to distinguish you from
I just
Tom
don't
Corliss.
want people to get us confused with one another. You wear your hat frontward, and I'll wear mine backward, and that way.
Beard Brigade in the house. Got it. Kamila, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
And for the first time on this version of ParksCenter, Mr.
That's
Rich
true.
Grafton, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How's everybody?
Were you not on like the very first ParksCenter?
I was on the very first ParksCenter, and I was on the very first Pressing Issues. It's a theme.
Well, we are honored and privileged to have you here tonight. Thank you so much.
I just like to get him kicked off.
So we're gonna be talking about some different things tonight, but you know what? Something that people keep asking me about all the time is Space 220. They're like, and it's because it's been so freaking long since it's been rumored to be open. But tomorrow is the actual date that it gets to open. And Eric, you're going, right?
I'll be there. I'll be there at lunch. I'm gonna spaghetti drop it or whatever. I don't know what you call it at Space 220, but I'm looking forward to it. The Space Getty and macaroni and cheese and space fries. I can't get enough. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, wait, it's Space Getty, right? I mean, we're not wrong on that
Space
one, right?
Getty, yeah. I think it's Space Getty.
Man, I am so excited about Space Getty. I don't think I can order it, though. I think they're very strict about that. I do like this sign, though. I think that looks pretty fancy. They got the sign up there. We do actually have some footage of riding the elevator, and we've got some footage from inside of Space 220, and all the crazy food. Anytime you can take cotton candy and make it part of a drink, I'm all in. And then you've also got we've got the reservations, so you can walk in tomorrow. And I'm sure it's going to be just a breeze to walk in and just, get a table. Probably won't be pandemonium like we all think it will.
No.
But then starting on the tomorrow, you can start getting reservations for after the 27th. Kamila, tell me you have already made your reservation secretly.
Not quite. I'm getting closer to my upcoming reservation window for a December trip, but I'm really excited. Like, we finally got here. I was excited when we got some of those sneak peeks from WDW earlier this week, and then even just seeing the menu. I will say, obviously, the menu, is themed to kind of this space theme, but for me, it kind of reminded me of the menu of Hollywood Brown Derby. I mean, I don't know if anyone else, but I feel like it was a lot of the same dishes, just kind of re-themed over here, which is fine for me. I love Hollywood Brown Derby. But I'm really excited. I'm really curious to see what people like Eric and others think about it. Because, I just wonder, knowing that, obviously they're using screens and that kind of a thing, do you really feel, semi-transported, or is it cheesy? I'm curious.
Yeah, speaking of screens and looking cheesy, Rich?
Yeah, thank you. Nice segue. I am very much looking forward to see how the guys tomorrow fare, and what it's really like to go up there. I know the video of the elevator, the space elevator, it was giving me very clear Mission to Mars vibes. I don't know who remembers that ride in Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom, but very much a similar type of feel, and I like that ride. That was one of my favorites back in the day. So I think I think it'll be cool. The food, yeah, it looks like earthly food that's named spacey, but okay, if it's good, that's all for the good.
Okay. So tell us again about Mission to what was that called? I'm just kidding. It's fine. No, you know what I mean, and I think we've heard hydrolators too, because
Yes.
like at the Living Seas, kids before there was Nemo at the Living Seas, there were hydrolators. It was this pretend trip. I mean, Disney and elevators, Disney Quest. Anybody remember those with the genie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, so good. So I can't. I mean, I honestly, I'm gonna admit I haven't watched this video because I want like the first time that I experience this to be the first time that I experience it. So I'm looking forward to getting this. But again, we talked about this last week. No one knew what the food was, and everybody's like, "How do I get a reservation?" And now that like the food is out there, it actually looks pretty good.
Now they have these crazy names.
The puns,
Starry
Eric.
calamari.
Eric, the puns. They're so they hurt. The Space Getty. I know that's been your favorite.
Starry calamari, but Space Getty. Come on, that's where they just gave up. They're like, I don't know, make some spaghetti, but space themed. How about Space Getty? Sure, I'm printing the menu now.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about dad humor, so I think we know who made the menu.
Was it you,
Yeah.
Rich? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Something that I do think is interesting about this, though, is Disney does seem to be leaning a little bit more into these prefix menus.
I was about to ask about
if you want
that.
to eat there, like you're going to pay, $75 and $69, like just like really high prices. I just find that really interesting because we're seeing that with Be Our Guest now. Now we're seeing that with this restaurant. It kind of seems like a new model that's emerging.
Well, and the problem that I have with that is like with my kids, like my daughter would not want an appetizer and a dessert. Like that's too much food. So it would be nice if you could do a la carte from this, but it's probably very convenient for them, wouldn't you think, to be able to just have one price, pick one of each and move through. Have you guys looked at the menu to figure out how to get the most of your money? By the way, because if it's a prefix, I always assume something is the most expensive, and I feel like that's the one I want to get.
I'm more just looking at what I feel like eating.
Taste.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're doing it to get the dollar's worth here. Come on. Is it the galactic salmon? I mean, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, speaking of salmon, Nemo. Let's talk about Nemo.
No more.
Nemo was a thing this week. So we had this announcement that the Finding Nemo musical was coming to an end. Is it this one? They all look alike. So the Finding Nemo musical was coming to an end. We heard that they had destroyed or dismantled the sets, the puppets, that they had alerted like half of the team that they weren't coming back. It has been kind of suspect that this was one of the only shows that has not come back. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, a large show. Obviously, there are Mermaid and there's some others that haven't. But like this was a real like seat filler type of a situation, and it's just been dark since we came back from COVID. And then we heard that they've dismantled everything. And then the next day, Disney announced, oh, there's something coming. It's not necessarily what it was before. So then there was like a lot of hubbub about, oh, fake news, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, the truth is that the original show is gone. Whatever it is they're bringing back, will it be as long? Because this was a long show. Or will it be, I mean, Rich, what do you expect from this show?
I have no idea.
Perfect.
Finding Nemo was always one of the shows that if we had time, we would go and see it, but we would never after the first couple times we saw it, we'd never make a special effort to go see it. But from a theatrical profession, artistic point of view, it was a good show. It was well produced. It was well done. The actors, were good for the roles that they did. So it was a good show. It's just that, how many times can you hear the story of Nemo over and over again? So who knows what they'll come up with next. I mean, I think, like you just said, the only truth we know is that the Nemo as we know it is gone. I don't think anybody knows what the truth is about whatever might be coming to replace it, if anything.
Eric, do you have any theories on that? I mean, here's my theory.
I mean, go ahead.
No, you tell me first, and then we'll see if they match.
The facts are indisputable. The cast and crew were informed the show is ending. You no longer have a job. I think a lot of them had already kind of knew this for a long time, and some of them had been already getting work elsewhere and things like that. They were informed it's going away. The news broke, and a day later, Disney followed up with something pretty vague. There is something Nemo related sometime in the future, in 2-3 years, or 1 or 2 years. It's going to have maybe 1 or 2 of the songs that you're familiar with, but it's reimagined. I think that they will probably come back with something shorter. I loved Finding Nemo the musical. I thought it was fantastic. I know a lot of people that didn't like it. Their complaint was that it was a little too long. So I wonder if they're going to come back with something that's a little shorter, a little easier to digest in smaller bites. And but it doesn't seem like they were very far down the road with this. It seems like they had decided they wanted to end this and let people go. And we'll make up something eventually, and we'll have something, and hopefully it'll be great.
Don't you think part of that, I mean, maybe this is just me being like big-headed about WDWNT, but don't you think the timing's a little weird that we ran this and then Disney stepped up with something like that?
Well, you can say that, right? Because only a couple of people ran with this news, and some ran as a rumor or whatever. But they had to know, like, we just emailed a whole bunch of people and or called them and let them know that their job was ending. A show this high profile, people were going to know, right? Because what hasn't come back? Finding Nemo, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. These are things that people are asking for, right? Hey, where am I getting my bang for my buck when I go to the parks? I'm not getting live entertainment. So they had to have an answer, right? Because they know this news is going to get out there. The fact that it got out there through us, it could have been a factor, or it could have been just an inevitable consequence of informing all these people that the show was ending.
And I wonder, sometimes you change something because it gives you the rights to like sever contracts and things like
Correct.
that. So I wonder if the change is because they were looking to sever the union contracts, or if it's because they were looking to, maybe the rights that they had to pay for the music. I don't know. It just seems like weird timing for the whole thing. But Kamila, what do you think about this?
I'm just amazed at how much love Nemo gets throughout the parks and throughout Disney World. I mean, you've got themed rooms that you can get themed to Nemo that are expensive. They've got a ride. They've got one of the largest aquariums in the country that kind of has a theme to it. And then you had this production, and I'm sure I'm missing some others, but it's just kind of amazing, how prevalent Nemo, the brand, or the IP is throughout the park. So to me, that's just interesting. But I think it does make sense that they would reimagine this show, similar to how they've taken this time to reimagine a lot about how they operate Disney World. I did feel like the show was really long, although I think it was really well produced. And if I'm honest, it's something that I would stop by if I wanted to kind of rest and relax, maybe sleep, to be honest. So I'm not surprised to, maybe see this be updated.
3 words: air conditioning. That's what that has.
Mm-hmm.
It's those 3 words. Also, Kamila, could part of your thing about Nemo be boats? Is boats a problem for you here? Is that what that is?
I actually really like the attraction, though, like the little Nemo ride at Epcot. I think it's so cute. And then how it dumps you into the aquarium, which I think is so underrated. And so many people don't even realize that's there. But then you've also got Turtle Talk with Crush. There just is a lot that is themed to Nemo. And it's kind of it's good, but is it that good? I don't know.
Ooh,
apparently it is. People love
words.
it.
But the Nemo subs too. I mean, in California, so
right,
there are some.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it was a big moneymaker for them, and definitely a big franchise. So, I don't know. I liked this show. I think I'm with you guys. It's I watched it every 3rd time I was there. It was a lot of times had to do with, do we need to rest, get out of the sun, that kind of thing. But I was always impressed with it. It was always well done. So, whatever.
But
comes
it
back.
begs the question. The Beauty and the Beast musical is getting pretty old and tired, and someone made the decision, we're keeping this one, or we're getting rid of Finding Nemo. So it could have, you said, something to do with a specific contract they have with someone or something like that.
Eric, you're going to get comments. It's blasphemy to talk about that Beauty and the Beast show.
No,
man.
I love Beauty and the Beast, but hey, if you go see that show, don't tell me it's getting a little old and tired. Maybe it needs a little.
You know what? I feel like as soon as the Broadway version came out, that one started looking, as you're saying, a little bit. But I mean, people love it, and it's bright colors and well done. Little kids love it.
I think if you added up the cast and crew for Nemo, it would be 2 to 3 times the size of the cast and crew for Beauty and the Beast. So I'm thinking it has something to do with costs and operations.
Very expensive show to produce, I'm sure.
I feel like that can't possibly be correct, Rich. It's money? No, that's...
Yeah, I know.
That's absurd.
Radical concept. I apologize.
Yeah. So let's move on to speaking of money. Is the a private tour. A VIP tour costs a lot of money unless you could find whoever this dude is who stole the iPad and was I'm so confused by this story because apparently what happened was that a guy stole an iPad that had the ability to I guess act as a VIP tour guide and to be able to schedule ride times and to be able to jump lines and things like that. So there's so many questions I have with this, Eric. I'm going to start with you because I feel like you were probably pretty close to this. I'm not blaming you for it because the guy was never named. I'm not saying it was you.
It was Eric.
But that person was trespassed, and also we have not named that person. But it's just here. I'm
because
confused
it was
about.
Eric.
I have a million questions on this.
All right, let's start with your questions.
All right. How do you market this tour? How is he getting customers? I have a stolen iPad and can get you to the front of the line. Where is he finding these customers?
Facebook Marketplace?
So is this like the pizza guys that slide stuff under the doors at every hotel that that you're not supposed to? I don't know. So there's like Disney apparently, at least according to the information we have, couldn't say. Had never reported this iPad as stolen, couldn't say which department it came from, and weren't sure how the guy came to be in possession of it, which makes you wonder how many of these are out there. It's just an app, right? So, and then the cojones to get your hands on this thing and be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to use it. Somebody on the inside had to teach him how to use this app to get people, you know what I mean? Like this isn't something a guy figured out on his own. So I think I wish we had more information on this. This guy is this guy has huge ones, I guess you could say.
This guy, keep acting like it's not you, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all. Like I literally I feel like I've read this story and just tried to do some research because like even just this concept of like he was able to schedule times for their ride. And I mean, look, I've never done a VIP tour, so maybe I just don't understand how these things work. But it's like, is it magic bands that they were scanning that allowed them to go through this line? And like where did the iPad come from? I will say, I do think, and this story made me think about a couple of weeks ago when we reported on how the fingerprint scanning had come back. And at the time, I figured like, oh, okay, it makes sense. But I found out later that what was happening a ton is people were sharing their magic bands, and so they were able to let their friends into the park using their AP when they weren't scanning them. So once that came back, like that couldn't happen anymore. So I think there's been for some time now some shady things happening in these parks, like they're the wild, wild west, and I'm sure Disney is aware of all of it. But this is a really interesting situation, and yeah, where there's one, I mean, there's got to be some more people that are, maybe thinking about this. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Rich, how would you make this your side hustle?
Very discreetly.
Sure.
Hey, buddy, you want to see an iPad? No. To me, this sounds like something on a Hallmark mysteries and movies type of show, and somebody who was let go from Disney somehow retained or retained access to, as they would say, an iPad, still had an active login because we know how on top of things Disney IT is, and was able to use that to create this side hustle which let people onto rides in the unauthorized way. So that's my theory.
Did you see they also reported the value of the iPad is like $400, so they didn't even have the good one?
Yeah,
they the
Well, I mean, if you're putting these out there for cast members to just pound on, you definitely you don't want them to be the iPad Pro.
Oh, rather not keep a track of them. They're like, it's $400.
Yeah,
that's their price. They still have the warehouse full of them that Steve Jobs sent them.
It's like free lightning lanes.
Well, but I was going to say, they're kind of creating this problem themselves, right? Because FastPass hasn't been a thing. Now we know that they're going to start charging for Lightning Lane and Genie Plus. I feel like they created this opportunity for this guy by having, I don't know.
Yep. I mean, any criminologist will tell you it's risk and reward, right? If you increase the rewards, then people will take increased risk to get that reward. So if you make things more expensive or don't have them at all, then the risk becomes worth the reward. And so, yeah, this is one of those examples.
Don't forget to tune into the post show where Rich is giving a TED Talk on how to be a criminal.
Yes, thank you for my TED Talk. Yes.
Exactly. So let's jump into the 50th. Let's go to some happier news from the most magical place on earth. So we've got these statues. They're out there, man. Kamila, there's a Nemo one. Ah, fantastic! I know how you love that.
They love Nemo.
Yeah, and so there's a Nemo one. There's some pins out there, which thank goodness I'm not down there because I'm sure these things are selling out. Otherwise, I'd have to spend money on them. The 50th popcorn bucket has come out. I love this because they don't really do a lot of. Everything is more universal Disney parks these days, so I love that they're doing something specifically for the 50th. They've wrapped the monorail, but apparently only in the middle. So that's interesting, and they've got the statues of the Magic Kingdom, including Mickey and Minnie, and this dedication plaque that they did to the cast members. Man, Figment is looking sharp. I'm excited about that one. I can't wait to see that one. And then this birthday cake that they've got, I find this one weird, guys. So they've got a Mickey and Minnie gold statue. Why didn't they put them out here with the birthday cake rather than put topiaries out here? I mean, am I wrong? Eric, you've seen this stuff firsthand, I assume.
I was at Epcot today, so I saw Figment. I've seen Dante and Miguel. I've seen, I forget who's next to them. Rocket and Baby Groot. So I've seen a few of them up close. They look okay. They look nice.
Okay.
I like seeing them.
I mean, there's a lot of 50th stuff going on, and it's really exciting that there's more than I thought there would be. Kamila, do you agree that
Yeah, and check your mail if you have a trip upcoming in the next few months, because I'm hearing from people who are receiving a sticker and a brochure, booklet from Disney saying thank you for visiting, during our 50th anniversary celebration. And I feel like that's something that hasn't really been announced or talked about, but I've heard plenty. I haven't received one personally yet. My trip's not till December, but people who are traveling in October and November are telling me that they've received this special little commemoration from Disney, which I think is really nice. So, I feel like things are coming together nicely. We've got the merch out. We've got these statues. They were able to finish some projects, which I know we'll talk about some of those later in Epcot specifically. But, I think it's coming together to be a really nice celebration, hopefully.
Yeah. Rich, you excited about this stuff?
Most of it. I mean, I think what we're seeing is probably a reimagined version of the 50th because of COVID and everything else that happened, and money. Oh, there it is again. And so I think maybe that's the reason why things are the way that they are. The statues are cool. It's not, to me, Disney World, because there's so much non-Disney World stuff in the statues. It's more like Disney celebrating the 50th anniversary of Disney World, which I guess is okay. I'm a little weirded out by the partial wrap of the monorail, not just because it looks cheap, but it looks weird. It just doesn't look right.
It looks weird in person. It looks very weird.
But I mean, I'm a pins guy. I like collecting pins, and I hope that my daughter, who was just there, was able to pick me up my pins that I asked for. So it's all good.
Is the plan, do you think, to do more of these, do all of them wrapped and then just wrap them in the middle rather than have the Tron monorail and have one that's wrapped completely? But
I mean, I know asymmetry builds dynamic interest in the visual presentation, yada yada, but the borders of that wrap are just weird the way that they are. I don't know, it just doesn't look right somehow.
Yeah, asymmetry and the stuff you said. Yeah,
sorry, whatever.
I'll say also for 50th stuff, if you're local, you've probably started to see, we received our in my household a 50th license plate. So the state of Florida 50th anniversary Disney license plates are out. I've seen them on the road. I've seen them, in cars around property. So it's kind of a cool touch. I like seeing them.
Yeah.
Now that's, if I were a resident, that might be something I would consider, because that's a cool, unique, lasting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually considering just getting temporary residency so that I can just get the license plate. Here's a very small sample.
Yep.
Yeah, of what that looks like. But yeah, I've seen people holding theirs up, and just a reminder, if you're putting them out on Instagram, make sure to cover up your number. Just for your own protection. The other thing, and we'll talk about this a little bit in the post show, is for the 50th is the the McDonald's toys have been also quite a thing to do. What about this? What about the 50th tiara? Eric, how many have you ordered?
I can tell you for sure that I will have one in my household.
Oh, nice.
I've been informed that we will be getting one. I don't know who's paying for it, but we'll be getting one in my household.
I didn't realize they came in puppy sizes.
Well, yeah, no, not for the puppy. It could be for someone else who might have their 50th birthday this year too.
And honestly, $85 for that, for some reason that doesn't strike me as unreasonable. I mean, again, not that I've been in the market for a lot of
it's all
tiaras.
relative.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but yeah,
you get a lightning lane pass for Rise of the Resistance or a tiara.
Yeah. Also, the beacon, the grand and miraculous beacon. Have you seen this lit up in person, Eric?
No, I haven't seen the Spaceship Earth lights, the tap lights. I can tell you some of them are rusting. But
Are they really?
I haven't seen them lit. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? One of them is rusting pretty bad, but it's just kind of dripping down the side there when you're leaving. If you're leaving from the side of the where Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't seen the lights on though. No.
Well, and again, all these things are great to me because I feel like when we came out of COVID and we knew all of these, and we're going to talk about the projects that were delayed at the back half of this show, but when we came out of COVID and we were just all like, what is Disney's birthday going to look like? What is Walt Disney World's 50th going to be? I feel like they've gone to the extra mile that when you show up, no matter which park, no matter where you are, there will be no doubt that there's a birthday celebration going on, and I was afraid that wasn't going to happen. So good on them. That's great that there's that much.
Oh, the banners are everywhere now, too. So
yeah. So let's move on to something else that's coming back: our dessert parties, because God knows I need more desserts. But this is for Harmonious and Enchantment. They are doing dessert parties, and I mean, I'm pretty excited the fact that they have actually, let us know ahead of time. I do think it's interesting that they're not doing them on the first. Obviously, that's going to be kind of crazy, the crowds there and everything. But Kamila, is this something, and again, I hate to kind of go back to this about like what other people are asking for, but is this something that people have come to you and said, where are the dessert parties and how can I get one? Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. There have been people who have been asking about this for quite some time, and the fireworks cruises did come back much earlier. So for some people, that has been an alternative, that if they reached out about a dessert party or some type of special fireworks experience, you would guide them towards the fireworks cruises. But the dessert party, yeah, I've got a couple of people who have already signed up for them. I personally will think about this for my upcoming trip now that they're back. I just think it's a fun kind of low stress way to take in the fireworks if that's your thing, and if you don't mind paying for it. I actually think for the most part the parties are pretty fun and they're worth it to do, maybe once. If you go often, it's something new. But yeah, I definitely think there's a market for people that are excited about this for sure.
And there are 3 levels of the one for Enchantment. There's the one where you go and you get your food and then you go stand in the grass. There's the one where you get your food and you get to sit down and watch the show. And then there's one, which I guess has been a thing, where you go and watch the fireworks and then you go eat, which is actually, that sounds like a good idea to me. Rich, do you guys ever do dessert parties when you go down, or have you looked at these?
I haven't looked at these. The ones that we liked to do were we did the dessert party for when Happy Ever After was new, and it was really cool. I mean, the desserts were fine. There was a little crowding in the dessert area, which wasn't great. But being able to stand in our reserved private grassy area, still part of the crowd, so you kind of get the crowd reaction and the crowd vibes, but apart from the masses, so to speak, so you had a little room to breathe, was very cool. And we actually did that one twice, 3 times, I think, with different assortments of people. I think that's the only one we've ever done. I'm trying to remember if we did one for Reflections at all. I can't remember.
What an elitist. Don't want to be with the masses.
Yes.
The huddled masses.
The sweaty, huddled masses, yes.
Don't want to be with those folks. Come on, man. Get with the plan. We're all in this together. All right, so what I want to ask you, Eric, is they're doing one for Harmonious. They're doing 2. They're doing one over at Morocco, and they're doing one over in the UK. I mean, have you been in both of these spots to watch shows before, and do you feel like there's an advantage one over the other?
I've done the UK before for like a business event where they, open bar and dessert and everything. It was pretty cool. That's a great little spot that a lot of people didn't even notice. I have not done Morocco, though. I've sat at Spice Road table right there on the water when nobody wanted a reservation there, within 9 o'clock reservation, and had a wonderful meal while I watched it. I thought that was great. I personally, the Magic Kingdom, I would prefer the one where you get the dessert afterward, because everyone's just fighting to get out of the park or move around or whatever. You can just kind of relax and have everything. I did, by the way, Friday, I went on a fireworks cruise, so I thought those were wonderful. And I think people are going to hate that I say this, I think it's not unaffordable, right? It's $400 for a group of 10. So you split that 10 ways, $40 a person. I don't think that's a terrible way to watch the fireworks and try something unique and have a good time.
Yeah.
And get snacks and drinks included. So.
Yeah. So you're buying next time?
No.
Fireworks cruise?
Yeah,
No?
sign me up. Thanks.
Yeah, if you could do that, that would be outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So Club Cool and the Creation Shop opened up this week, and again, Eric, I'm going to go to you just because you're local. Have you been into these stores? And
I was just there. Here's my hat from Creation Shop. I couldn't wear it because it's just too reflective. It's very reflective Epcot hat you can get there. They have a cool jacket that Tom wore on News Tonight. Got the old. This is not new, but they have this cool merchandise. It's a cool store. The thing that's noteworthy to me is like Mouse Gear seemed like a place over the years where it was easy to get separated from people and to lose people. That's not going to happen in Creation Shop. It's just you could see from the front to the back, but it's just wide open. I don't know that it's some sort of marvelous achievement of Imagineering. Like I think some people would be forgiven for thinking that, because they did make a big deal about tweeting and putting on Instagram all the work that went into choosing the flooring and all these things. It's a gift shop. But I thought it was very nice. They have the that mobile checkout feature, so you can just check out on your smartphone right there, show them a QR code, and walk out. That's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in general that when we were announced all of the things that were coming to it, and I think we were grasping for words to talk about it being too clean, and then people in chat were like, well, why wouldn't you want a place to be clean? And we're like, no, I don't mean clean. I just mean like...
It feels like an Apple store.
Yeah, exactly. Just like...
It does a bit. It's a little sterile. But at the same time, like, I don't know that's a good or bad thing to me. They identified that, look, I think we can all agree Mouse Gear, we all might have some nostalgia for it, but it was kind of dated. It was kind of, I don't know, kind of corny. Kind of dark, and now this place is new and bright and everything else, and I think it's fine. It's a gift, like I said, it's a gift shop. It's not an attraction. It's a place to just buy something on your way to the park. It was easy to not get lost. So I was
going to say I actually like the finished product better than I thought I would, because it does look like you said, like it's got the natural light, and everything looks like it's easy to find and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy about that. Plus the fact that kind of like going from Illuminations to Epcot Forever, Harmonious has got to be amazing. Going from Mouse Gear to the ad hoc Mouse Gear to this has got to be, again, a huge upgrade. So
I think also just it's worth pointing out that I think a lot of people just assumed when they said Creation Shop that there was some sort of interactivity involved in this shop, which there's not, right? It's not like a Build-A-Bear workshop where you go and you create some kind of gift. It's not that. It's just a gift shop.
Yeah. So, Rich, I'm going to ask you instead about the Club Cool, because I mean, first of all, there's no one cooler than Rich Grafton. Let's just put that out there. Secondly, I mean, have you? I assume you were in the original Club Cool, and then you went back to the last one. Have you looked at these pictures? Does this? I mean, I feel like they've done this justice.
I think they have. So, I mean, Coca-Cola itself is transformed from, you know, the 50s postcard with the red pickup and the boxes on the back to the cool polar bear sipping the cool Coca-Cola on the cool iceberg and all that sort of thing. And the store is kept up now, I think. I'm happy to see the selection of worldwide beverages, although I liked some that are no longer there, but I'm looking forward to trying some of the new ones and seeing what it's like. Kind of like having the merchandise a little more prominent. I liked some of the stuff that's in the World of Coke or the Coca-Cola store at Disney Springs, so that kind of looks cool. I hope my primary main goal for them would be to create a floor that doesn't get sticky. So hopefully they will do that.
I mean, you know, we can all wish. Kamila?
Yeah, I mean, I just will say, I think both of these new shops, they match kind of the design that's there in the front of Epcot. Thinking about like the donut box and where you can get the popcorn, they all kind of have a very unique aesthetic, and I think this kind of matches that. And it also kind of matches the new logo for Epcot. So I think it, you know, aesthetic-wise, it all kind of fits together, and it looks nice.
Yeah, I agree. I had doubts, but you know, and I think that we kind of do this a lot. Is that we, you know, what's the Skyliner going to be? I'm not really sure, and then I end up liking it. You know, I fingers crossed for Harmonious. I think it's going to be a great show, and hopefully the barges, you know, fade into the background somehow. But
and just by the way, I couldn't go today. The line was too long. They had like, I don't know, 3 or 4 switchbacks in there. But Allison and Desi went today and live streamed it shortly before we came on. So if you want to see Club Cool, they did a live stream. I'm told that the worst drink is no longer Beverly. There is a Chinese drink that tastes like, quote, carbonated barbecue sauce. So I don't know what that's all about.
Whoa.
And check it out.
well, that's fun. You know what I would like to throw out there too is that I like this. I like the fact that they're all against a wall here, as opposed to the in the round. I don't know, for some reason that feels easier to manage, but yeah. I mean, I could be wrong on that one. So let's talk about this, because this is kind of exciting. Rise of the Resistance. We just talked about last week how they changed the setup for the virtual queue so that you could pre-queue all of your guests in queue and see what you were dealing with before it happened, which I think was going to alleviate a lot of issues. And then they turn around and go, you know what? Let's just pause this for a little while. What? I mean, I don't get this at all. What are they thinking, Rich?
I think they're thinking that, oh, geez, maybe we can just do a standby line and it'll only be a couple hours. We don't have to pay, you know, we don't have to deal with IT snafus and everything else that we keep dealing with. But I agree. It kind of sort of seems like a lot of the issues with getting a spot in a group had been subsided, and people were understanding how to do it, and the ride, crossing fingers and knocking on wood, was staying up enough to get most of the boarding groups in, and now we don't need them.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's to me, when I see the live streams and so on, it looks a lot less crowded, and based on what we've heard about, you know, people in Florida and people at hotels, it seems a lot less crowded. So, you know, from a crowd science, you know, point of view, maybe it's the best thing to do. I certainly hope that's what they decided. But we'll
I'm hoping
see.
There's a lot less heartbreak, Kamila, like moving forward from people who like didn't get to go, that they could at least stand in line.
That would be us too, unfortunately.
You know, so I will just say this. When I was at Disneyland recently, I had the most flawless virtual queue experience you could possibly have with getting on Rise of the Resistance. And the ride was perfect. I mean, they were just, everything was perfect. I got Group 22. It was pretty much the first thing I did when I got to the parks. There, you know, there was people in the line, but we walked all the way through the queue onto the ride. I mean, everything was perfect except the little girl who got scared about halfway halfway through and had to be evacuated, which is understandable. It can be scary if you're a little kid.
So they were firing on all cannons.
They really were. But I will say this. Just because, like, I'm a little skeptical that they intended to do this from the beginning, just because of some of the updates they just gave us about, changes they were making to try to make the virtual queue experience better. And one thing I am hearing from cast members that I talked to at Disney is that they are having a lot of trouble with technology related to Genie and Genie Plus. So I wonder if some of the things that they were having to do technology-wise meant that they had to take this off of the virtual queue while they worked through that, and they were just too worried about it just not working or functioning the way they needed to. I have no idea. But I do know they're having a lot of technology issues related to them trying to get that ready to go. This is really interesting, and I'm not fully convinced that, just given how much the ride can go down or have issues, I don't know what the answer is for this one, but I'm very curious to see what a standing queue looks like, and maybe a little scared.
During your visit, when you had the perfect ride, were you hashtag hosted? You could tell us.
No, I wish. I
okay.
wish.
All right.
No, I did the work. I was at time.gov about 5 minutes before. I closed out of my app. I did the work to get on, and then it just, the ride was up and running.
All right. Very cool. I'm actually excited about the idea that you can actually go and stand in line, and that everybody gets a fair shake. Hopefully, you find that they can still manage that capacity. Let me throw it to Eric real quick, and then Rich will finish with you.
I just say good. I think if you're willing to go to a theme park and stand in line all day to ride because you want to ride this one ride, you should be able to do it. And before that was not an option. You were limited to how lucky are you with the app, how good are you using this app, how good is your internet connection, all this other stuff. Good. You can wait in line for the ride now. I have to think that part of this could be due to guest relations just saying, an outsized proportion of our complaints and issues we deal with all day, every day, have to do with this one ride, and it's choking us. Like, we're having trouble servicing the guests with real problems because this app and this ride are X% of our problems, and maybe putting a standby queue in will alleviate a bunch of that. I don't know.
Yeah, Rich, you wanted to finish that off?
So I was going to say, new theory, just like Disney prefers to charge more money to reduce the size of crowds rather than build ride capacity to absorb crowds, seems like their IT philosophy is the same. Rather than build capacity to account for Disney, Genie, and more electronic queues and so forth, they'll just turn them off and have people do what they have to do, not build capacity. Same philosophy.
I'm not going to lie, I'm okay with that. Virtual queue.
There's a double-edged sword. Yeah, I mean, we did not get anything the first day we tried, and we got a low boarding group the second day we tried, during which Rise went down all day. So our luck with Rise is not great.
Okay, so go ahead, Kamila.
I just was going to say quickly, I just really wonder how much this was a last-second decision, because when they announced, Genie and Genie Plus, there's going to be virtual queue, and there's going to be that, they just have made such a production about, announcing that the virtual queue is still going to be there, and then abruptly, now it's no longer going to be there. So I just wonder on the back end what's really happening.
Yeah. For the sake of time, we're going to jump to the just one last topic here, which over at Disneyland, they've made some cultural changes to Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin. They are going to retheme a little bit of this attraction so that Jessica Rabbit is the star, and she is a detective on the case. So the first, I guess, level of this was they took her out of the trunk. You know what? Poor Pluto, he's in the trunk when it comes to, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but nobody puts Jessica Rabbit in the trunk. I'm confused about this one, because I feel like Jessica Rabbit has always been a very strong character. She's kind of the one who saves Roger's butt in the movie all the time. It doesn't seem necessary to me to make her a detective, but I'm going to start with your thoughts on this one, Kamila. Do you think this is necessary, and if so, are you excited about the direction it's going in?
I'm going to be honest. I don't particularly care either way. This is not a ride that
Whoa!
it's not a must-do
Whoa.
for me. But so if I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't have noticed one way or the other. I've been on this ride, maybe not the last time I was at Disneyland, but the time before. But it's kind of one of those you just go on if you're in, at least for me, because I'm in the area. I will say, one thing I know about Disney is they're pretty good about doing some research and talking to guests about some of these rides and getting reaction after they get off of it. And they have the Disney Moms panel. So Disney actually gets a lot of research about what people are thinking about different rides. I know I was surveyed when I got off Pirates before they made some of the big changes there. So sometimes I think they really are just curious what people are saying. I don't know that anyone was complaining about this or had strong thoughts one way or the other. But I can appreciate Disney kind of being thoughtful about the imagery they're putting out there, specifically because it's Toontown. There's a lot of kids, maybe who will end up on that ride, even though it might be a little scary for them, might be a little adult for them. I don't know. I've seen many kids cry on many of these dark rides and not be able to even get on them. But, I just think Disney is trying to be thoughtful about some of this stuff, and I kind of appreciate that. And I don't think, regardless, this is a huge change, but we'll see.
Eric?
I don't know. I mean, they're concerned about having to explain to kids seeing things that are unpleasant or whatever. I mean, kids are probably smarter than we give them credit for. Like Kamila said, this is not like a big ride that a lot of people care a great deal about. But like I see as a kid, Jessica Rabbit being tied up in a trunk. I know that's wrong. I know you don't tie women up and put them in trunks. That's why I'm rooting for her. Right? I know it's wrong to auction off women, for pirates to auction off women. I also know it's wrong to give rum to a cat, but they haven't done anything about that. I don't understand why, but especially because they're changing the whole story. Right? If you're changing the whole story, maybe they could do it in a thoughtful way. Roger Rabbit, I tried to watch the movie again this week just because I saw that, and I was like, I haven't seen that in a while. Not a great film. I mean, I know a lot of people have good feelings for that film. People have good feelings for that film, but, not a great ride, not a great film, and they're going to change the story, and I guess we'll just see how it turns out.
You're wrong. Rich?
I have to agree with the incorrectness of my good friend, Mr. Eric there. It is a good film, but not necessarily because of storyline, but it's one of the few times where the legal departments actually made the film by getting all those licenses together, and technology-wise, obviously all of the mixing of live action and so forth. But as far as the ride goes, I mean, it's a little confusing to me. I mean, Jessica has always been, well, she hasn't been bad, she's just drawn that way, but she's always been gender-based enhanced caricature, shall we say. And so how far do you go? I mean, why this and not that in the ride? I don't know. The ride is always, and I haven't been to Disneyland in a very long time, not something that we do all the time, but the movie is something that we've seen a few times. So I don't know. It's all right.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could just be nostalgic for it, but I rewatched it. We did a Deep in the Plus on it with Katie, and I really enjoy that film. I love all of the, like you said, Rich, all of the different IP that are in it that came together. I think that was great. I think that the first time you see it, it's kind of amazing what they were able to do with it. So I enjoy that. I hate that there's not more Roger, and I know that it's all litigation, but I wish there was more Roger in the park in general. So that's why when I go to California, I'm always excited to take on this attraction. But if they do like they do with the Jungle Cruise, and they can make some cool additions to this, maybe even like Snow White's Enchanted Wish, if they can make some cool additions, I think that would be neat, because a lot of it does look a little bit dated inside. So maybe it'll be a good thing down the road.
And,
we'll see.
And the next argument is going to be the internet's going to blow up when they see whatever outfit they put on Private Eye Jessica Rabbit, right?
But you know what? Can I just
say
a
red sequin trench coat?
I do think something that does not get discussed, maybe so much in like Disney circles, or maybe not every Disney circle, like there really is a generational shift, I think, between like millennials and Gen Z, and like even the kids that they're raising. Like, so like, for example, like my friends and the kids that they have, like, they see Cinderella and they're like, I hate Cinderella, but they love Frozen. And so, like, already you're starting to see this disconnect between, like, even classic princesses and, what they like. They like Moana and Frozen, and they think, Cinderella is ridiculous, or, meh, is like what I've heard come out of one child's mouth. So, I think Disney has to kind of manage this a little bit, right? Like, they want to introduce, like, new generations and new families into Disney, but yet still kind of keeping maybe some of the rides and the IP that are there. And it's tough because there's big differences between, like, what Gen Z and millennials may think is appropriate or want to see when they go to Disney, and what the rest of you want to see. So it's not a simple fix, I don't think, all the way around.
Well, speaking of, like, the kids, we've got one coming up next. Spencer will be here to talk a little bit about Tokyo. So we're very excited about that. We're going to go take a commercial break. Then after that, we're going to come back with this group, and we're going to talk about D23 Expo 2019, the announcements they made, and where are all those projects now. We'll follow up on all that on ParksCenter. So stick around.
WDWNT presents Timekeeping, a year-by-year journey through the history of the vacation kingdom of the world. Join us for the premiere Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, or watch on demand anytime on the WDW News Today YouTube channel.
Welcome back to ParksCenter, and you know what? That timekeeping commercial is kind of just, it's epic, it's legendary, and when I think epic and legendary, of course, we also think of this guy. It's Annie from Universal Parks. No, it's not. We have the wrong title there. It's fine. And it's Spencer. Hi, Spencer. Look at you. You I can't hear you, though, so no, we can't hear you. Are you muted? You look amazing, though, if that's any consolation. I feel like he's now frozen. Wait, say something?
Hello?
Yep, I can kind of hear you.
Hello, I'm saying words.
There you go. How's it going, my friend?
Is that better? Better? Much better?
Much better. I mean, it's amazing technology to think that, like, from across wherever you are, that we are able to actually have this conversation. So, what's with the getup?
Well, Tokyo Disney Sea just had their 20th anniversary, and so I got this shirt on the anniversary day, and then I'm also borrowing one of Tom's hats that I bought for him for the purposes of this show. Fortunately, Tom probably is not watching, so he's not going to know that I use it.
No, that's 100% true that Tom is not watching. I can guarantee that he's not watching. But, so you're okay with the hat, though. So the 20th anniversary, you went and you experienced the whole thing. What can you share with it, like with someone like me, a humble person who wants so desperately to go see this amazing park? How was the whole thing?
Well, I recommend not coming for the 20th anniversary because right now it's really nothing. They scaled back a lot of it. We usually have these really big, grandiose anniversary celebrations, but because of COVID and the government's capacity restrictions at theme parks, we can only have 5,000 people a day, which doesn't lead to a lot of money being left over for an anniversary celebration. So right now, all we have is a 10-minute greeting on the waters of Mediterranean Harbor where Mickey and friends kind of do a little dance with guests. And then there's merchandise and some food, and that's the whole anniversary.
Well, I mean,
it's rather sad.
You're really painting a beautiful picture. So are you telling me that they didn't put together 36/50 character statues? That's disappointing.
I'm sure that was in the original plan. They did that for the 15th anniversary in 2016, but money right now. We have fallen victim to the same thing as the Walt Disney Company because there's just no money.
Yeah, okay. No, I get that. So, but I'm looking through at all this stuff from the 20th and just little things that I look at here and I go, wow, I wish we did stuff like this. So like this churro in the nice little bag, I assume you were ordered to keep this bag for Tom. I assume this is...
Yeah, it's in a file folder in his pile right now, which is like right over there.
No, I mean, I'm just looking at it going, I would want that bag. That looks really cool. And then
that
like
churro's so good.
I assume you also have this this drink cup somewhere for him.
The cup is also over there, yeah.
Sparkling lemon and ginger drink. That looks kind of amazing. So, I mean, all
it was all right.
Okay.
It was all right. The ginger doesn't mix very well, so it was all kind of gone in one sip. This stuff, except for the pudding, this stuff was really good. I liked this cup that they served the souvenir pudding in better than the actual cup that they're selling in the store, because this one, if you scroll down, it has the skyline of the park imprinted on the inner rim of the cup, which is just really cool. I like this better than the actual one that they sold in the store.
Wow. And this is if you buy the pudding?
Yeah, it's about $8. Tom has talked about this in the past. We do these souvenir cups and plates for every special event. Halloween, Christmas, Easter, anniversaries, everything gets a cup and a plate. And we did this one for the 20th. This is one of my favorite sets that we've done of the cup and the plate.
I love how like the color of this matches the imprint on the inside. I mean, it's like just about perfect. But you're saying that the whatever was in the cup was kind of garbage?
It was yogurt mousse and I believe lemon jelly. I don't remember what it was, but the yogurt mousse was not good. I was with my friend who helped me get the ticket to the park that day because it's impossible to buy tickets right now. And we're just sitting there eating the pudding, and we both kind of took one bite, and we're like, "What the heck is this? What were they thinking?"
So the theme is time to shine. Is that correct?
Yes. So there was supposed to be lots of like sparkling stars and stuff. You can see it in the concept art and in some of the things that were left over that actually got built. But the theme was going to be like shining stars, and all the characters were going to have like different qualities of a star, I think. And stars were going to be all over the park. And of course, you know, with budget, it didn't happen. But yeah, that's what it is. It's time to shine. And the song is the song is really good. They haven't released the song yet. It's coming in November, but the song is really good.
Yeah, I mean, all of it looks pretty neat. I mean, definitely, again, very similar to what we have for the 50th over here with all the banners and things like that they've got up. Did they do anything else? Is there anything new, like any new attractions, anything else that were timed out for this? Or is it just all the...
No, not yet. It's all of this. I mean, usually they would do new stage shows and stuff, but we haven't gotten to that point, I think, in reopening yet. We're supposed to get a new nighttime spectacular called Believe Sea of Dreams. That was supposed to open this year, but got pushed to next year because of COVID. We're supposed to get that in 2022 now. But other than that, they haven't said that anything else is coming. We're busy building Fantasy Springs right now at Tokyo Disney Sea, and that's supposed to open with the resort 30th anniversary celebration in 2023.
Okay. So then let's move on to this, because I just got to go to Oogie Boogie Bash in California. Halloween is amazing, but yet when I look at this, I mean, so we're done with the hat. Okay, cool.
We're done talking about the 20th, so we're done with the hat.
When I look at this, this is freaking amazing. How cool is it usually to do or Halloween in Tokyo? I mean, is it amazing?
So Halloween is usually a lot better, actually. They didn't do any of the decor this year, from what I've seen on Twitter so far. And of course, we usually get Disney Sea will get a harbor show, like a full 20-minute show, and then Disneyland will get a parade. And I'm happy this year compared to last year, because last year we didn't get anything. This year, they actually dragged out one of the actual floats for the first time instead of using the standard kind of generic greeting float that they use for Christmas, and the very, very mini greeting and the regular greeting. So we actually got the first unit from the Spooky Boo Parade. That train right there that looks like the Western River Railroad is being used for the greeting. The problem with the upcharge event, it's called Halloween Morning. It's an extra almost $50, and there's no like candy trails or anything like that. All you get is that same float, but instead of Mickey and the rest of the gang, it's Mickey and some villains, apparently. And then you get the right to come dressed in costume the whole day at the park, which is normally free and a very big deal. People love doing Disney Halloween here because they put all this effort into their costumes. And if you look back on the site, you can see like our top 50 costumes that I saw in 2019. You'll have to search it up on WDWNT.com. But I am not happy about this. Most people I know aren't happy about this. I see it right now as kind of a necessary evil. We've always shied away from doing upcharge events aside from the New Year countdown party because of logistics of getting cast members to the parks in time and the demand. And OLC has this weird thing about making sure everything is fair. And they don't really see upcharge parties as fair necessarily. So I'm curious to see how this goes and how people receive it. I'm sure it'll sell out because capacity is so low that why wouldn't it? But I'm not happy about this. Most people I know really aren't.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, again, I think we see a parallel. And, whether it's COVID or not, I don't know. But, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party versus the Boo Bash that they're doing, they're not the same. It's not the same vibe that we had before. One of the things that I think I'm always also jealous about with this stuff is the merch.
This stuff is cute.
Yeah.
I have you can't see it because it's too far away, but the pin is on my bulletin board behind me. I always put the pins on my bulletin board. So it's like right there. You can see very faintly somewhere. I don't know which direction I'm moving in.
Is it this is the pin you're talking about?
Yeah, that one.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
the merch is good.
The ghost train to me is, again, I guess this is the same one as that float, is one of the coolest things that I see on here. But the badge that we know is a big deal over there. Those are cool. These outfits are amazing. So are there characters walking around in these same outfits?
These are the costumes they would appear in if the parade was running. So they would have these costumes on in the parade, and then usually what would happen is you could buy one of the vacation package bundles, and part of that is usually a special greeting of some kind. So if this were normal times, you could buy a character meet and greet with Mickey and Minnie in those costumes.
Buy?
Yeah, it's part of the little vacation package bundles that we do here. It's you get to stay at the hotels, usually early entry into the parks. Right now, vacation packages are offering guaranteed rides on Beauty and the Beast and Baymax, which are lottery rides right now, usually. Kind of like Rise of the Resistance, but even more unfair.
No, that can't happen. I've only heard that everything is better in Tokyo. That cannot be. Things are worse here. It cannot. I refuse to believe that.
Tom doesn't like it when I say that things are bad in Tokyo. He'll always find something that he doesn't like about Florida to throw back at me.
Yep, that sounds accurate. Let me ask you about this. Is persimmon seeds and peanuts, is that a thing people love over there?
I don't know. I'm going to guess yes. If there's people like the prepackaged snacks. It's the whole gift giving culture. When you travel, you bring back gifts for people. Every time I go to Osaka to go to USJ, my friends will always be like, "Where's my food?" And I never buy them anything because I don't really want to spend all that much money. If I bought everything for my friends, I'd probably spend about $40 on little treats every time I go to anywhere.
I mean, I'm down with the cookie thing. Like the cookies, that looks cool with the nice tin and everything. I mean, that's kind of neat. And this, I'm not even going to pretend to try to pronounce. But that again has the nice. What is that?
I believe it's pronounced Baumkuchen or Baumkuchen. I don't know which. It's a German roll cake, basically.
Huh. Okay.
For some reason, it's very popular here. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Please
Well,
excuse the helicopter sounds outside my window.
oh, is that what that is? I thought that sounded.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that sounded like. And again, the Halloween looks amazing, and I hear. I mean, I get that it's it's not what it used to be, and we definitely feel that. And then this celebration, it's sad that they don't get to do more because again, 20 years of that park, and everything I've heard about that park is that it's amazing. But that just means they need to raise their game for the 25th, right?
I'm sure that when the 40th comes around in 2023 and when the 25th comes around in 2026, that we'll be well past this. People will be coming back to the parks in droves. I fully expect OLC to go absolutely all out for the 40th when it comes around in a couple of years, because they're going to be trying to get people to believe that coming back to the parks is safe, which it is safe even now. But there's still people who are going to doubt. And so they're going to want to motivate people to come back, and what better way to do that than with a giant celebration with all this new stuff. Hey, you haven't been to Disney since before COVID 4 or 5 years ago. Come spend your money, please.
Yeah, sure.
I fully believe, sorry, just one more thing. I fully believe that the success of the 40th anniversary and Fantasy Springs' opening is what will dictate the path that we take here for the next 10 years after. If it's successful, then I think we'll see a lot of new development at TDR in the 2020s and into the 2030s. If it's not, then I think that things will still continue to be... It won't be this bad, but it'll probably be a repeat of what happened after the big earthquake in 2011 when attendance dipped a lot and we lost a lot of money and went through a lot of budget cuts.
Yeah, again, we hear nothing about that stuff from Tom. It's only good things. It's only sunshine and rainbows in Japan all the time. So I'm glad to get actually another opinion from someone else. But thank you for being on, man. I appreciate it. Anything else that you wanted to discuss before we move on?
Just very shortly, because I don't know when the next time I'll be on here is. Halloween is awesome. Halloween Horror Nights at USJ is great. There's going to be plenty of content coming on to our YouTube channel and on Universal Parks News today, so keep an eye out. I had a great time when I was in Osaka, and there's plenty of to show off.
Nice. Well, and you know what? Come back anytime. I know there's a time difference, so I really appreciate you doing it. But we are very curious about what's going on over there. We can't go. Right now we can't. We're not allowed to go. But I want to get to the level where I can at least go and see all the cool stuff that you've been showing us through the website. So thanks for taking some time, man. I appreciate it. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yep, and we'll be right back to talk with our panel with a pressing issue about 2 years later, Disney, the D23 Expo, and where are we with all those projects? Coming up next. Don't go away.
Welcome to Unplanned Downtime, the YouTube channel for all your favorites, including Cosmic Read Live, discussions and Imagineering attractions, Deep in the Plus, reviewing the catalog on Disney Plus, Ink and Paint,
celebrating female voices in the Disney fandom. WDW News Tonight, a late-night comedy show with sketches and characters. Boxed In, opening mystery packages and viewer mail. Picky Eaters, trying to eat our way across Disney restaurants. WDWMT The RPG, a tabletop adventure set in Tokyo Disney Sea. And more of your favorites. Subscribe now at unplannedDowntime.com. Remember, it's not an accident, it's unplanned downtime.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside and a panel of Disney superfans as they take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog, tell you its history, details, give their review, and let you know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube at unplannedDowntime.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to ParksCenter again. Thanks for being with us tonight. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. It helps people to find the show. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do. We've got lots of great content on here, including the world famous WDW News Tonight every Thursday night that features a great cast, including that guy over there. So thank you guys for agreeing to be on this panel. Let me kind of preface this by saying that for this topic tonight, I was at D23 Expo in 2019. I've been to a bunch of them. I've been to all of them that have been out there. It happens every 2 years. It would have been, a month ago would have been the next one. So 2019, it would have been 2021. We would have seen one in August of 2021. And because of, again, that whole thing we keep talking about, the whole COVID thing, it didn't happen. So, it's going to happen 2022. Tickets are going to go on sale. I'll be on the fence as to whether I'm actually going to go back, but I've been to all of them so far. A lot of times they'll bring up some stuff, and they bring up something that will, they use it as a platform to show off everything that the company has coming up, and a lot of things they save, put in their pockets, and they release them at D23 Expo. So they'll talk about Marvel movies and TV shows we haven't heard about, and so on and so forth. So some of the stuff doesn't actually make it. Some of the stuff changes over time. For instance, the Fantasyland Forest expansion was supposed to have a meet and greet of Cinderella, a meet and greet of Sleeping Beauty, and then between the time they announced it and what actually happened, they scrapped those and they made Seven Dwarfs Mine Train Roller Coaster. Then I believe it was 2017 where just out of nowhere they announced this Main Street Theater, which was going to be an extension of Main Street. No one really knew what was going to be in it, but it looked like a good idea because of how clogged up Main Street gets. They closed down some stuff backstage, and then they ended up canceling the project. So what I want to talk about tonight is a lot of the 2019 stuff. Some of the stuff happened, and we want to see what you guys think of it, and some of it didn't. But I want to start with one that... Oh, time's up. Actually, that was Spencer's alarm, so hopefully he got to hear that somewhere. So when it comes to this is the one for me that is like kind of in infamy, is the Reflections Hotel. So this was something that they were going to build. It was partially hotel, partially DVC, I believe, and it was going to be over on the graveyard of River Country, Disney's version of a good old-fashioned swimming hole. And so they started making this, and COVID came, and they were like, ooh, this looks like it's going to cost us a lot of money. We're gonna pretend like it never happened. And Eric, this was actually kind of in your neck of the woods, right? You passed by this project a lot. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not a DVC member, but the members I talked to say there's an inventory problem. So I don't see how there still isn't demand for this additional inventory. I could be wrong. It looks like it was a cool project. I understand they had good reasons for stopping it. I can't imagine that it won't ramp back up at some point, right? DVC is not going to just start shrinking. I think their plan is to continue. So I it seems like one of those projects that take priority over something like a multi-billion-dollar attraction or something like that.
Well, here's the problem I have with it is that you're talking about inventory. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna help the inventory. And Rich, I don't know if you are into DVC or not, but if you get more rooms, you have more points to sell, which means there'll be more points out there, which means there'll be. I feel like it doesn't solve itself. Rich, thoughts?
Are you looking for an answer or a response? Sure. Yeah, DVC. We're not DVC. We've looked at DVC a couple times. The numbers never worked out for us because it's actually not that great a value in our opinion. But yeah, if you build, so you're not building a resort, and this is not an original thought, you're building points that happen to match when you build a resort. So when you put more points out there, you need more people to buy those points, which increases the pool of people that could use those points anywhere across the resort. And the decision not to put those points out there by not building a resort is a little different than not just building a resort. I think it, once again, like the theme of tonight, comes down to money. You only have a certain pool for capital expenditures and building stuff, and Disney has chosen not to apply that pool to expanding the pool, the DVC points, and by building this resort. I mean, I think that's what it boils down to. Now, we can talk about the aesthetics and the coolness or lack thereof of the proposed resort as is versus other proposed resorts that might have gone there, but as far as why they didn't build it, I think it has to be financial. I mean,
yeah.
This is it. That's it. That's the end of story kind of thing.
Well, and the other thing I have a problem with is, and I've said this before, is that I feel like the parks are overcrowded as it is, right? And if you're building another hotel, you're building another place for people to come and stay and go and be in those parks. I feel like a fifth gate needs to happen at some point, and I may be the only one that believes in that, but I feel like there needs to be a fifth gate, and you're building more hotels, more rooms, means more people, means it's going to be more crowded. But we can definitely talk about the rest of the the hotel itself. But Kamila,
I'm not sure though that they aren't taking people away from. I'm sorry, it looks like Kamila. I'm not sure that they're just not trying to take away from the people who have resorts nearby that are dying, right? There's plenty of these places on, I've realized these aren't necessarily the same customers, but a lot of the hotels in the area are not doing very well.
Okay.
And why wouldn't Disney want to hop in there and take some of those people?
That's fair.
And I think we would have to add that the Disney inventory of hotel rooms is way below occupancy with what they prefer to see. So that probably factored into it too.
Yeah. Kamila?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really have to add is with the DVC hotels, you tend to get the 2 and 3 bedroom rooms, and those are actually more highly in demand than a lot of people may realize, just because so many families are 5, 6, or it's groups traveling together where it makes sense for grandma and grandpa to be in one bedroom and then the other family to be in the other. So more of those types of rooms becoming available, I think, is a good thing, and certainly something that both Disney and guests could benefit from.
Okay. And here's the thing too, is that this one looked like it was kind of neat the way it was set up, but also at the same time it had a Tiana restaurant, but it wasn't Tiana's place. That was kind of weird.
Why is that not at the French Quarter?
No idea.
Where they have Tiana themed rooms.
All right, so let's talk about something else, and this thing. They made this big announcement about dividing up Epcot into World Discovery, World Celebration, World Nature, and World Showcase. Now, other than Tom Corliss, has anybody else on here memorized which is which and where is where?
No. I kind of know where water is.
I mean, like, I feel like Future World and World Showcase were enough, Rich. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so. There's a running joke around, when you make a presentation at work, you use a template, and then you try to fill in the template with the best you can. This seems like kind of that sort of a thing. It's like, well, we have 5 colors. Let's fill them in with something, and they ended up with this.
We'll call this one World. I don't know. Discovery? Yes. Let's do Discovery.
Yeah.
Do we own Discovery?
Everything
no,
has
no.
to begin with World.
Yeah. Do we own Discovery Channel? No, we own Nat Geo. Oh, shoot. Oh, well, it's too late. We already put that where red is. The thing that always got me about Epcot that I thought was cool is that when you came in to what they're calling World Celebration here, that it was divided into the parts of the brain, that the left brain was all right angles and things that were of the mind, and and then the right side was rounded angles, and this was actually a themed thing that that was there, as if the right brain stuff was agriculture and imagination and the seas, and the left brain stuff was energy and motion, and so, and everything, the lines of the park matched it. This was almost like they were like, we've kind of lost the glue here. How about we just redo the whole thing, because we're going to put that Moana water thing over in nature. Let's just call it nature. This is going to take a while.
We kind of have a whole park dedicated to nature too.
Where's that? No, I'm just kidding. So let me move on to this then, because I think this was positive, and they actually made this happen, which was the structure of the entrance plaza to Epcot. That was one of the things they announced. I'm excited about this one in general, because now I did have one of the little pictures on one of the tombstones, so I'm glad that they found another place for those. But the tombstones themselves it was kind of anticlimactic.
It's only a 10-minute walk to go see it again.
Right, and then I got to put somebody on my shoulders to take a picture.
Yeah.
But I do love the return of the Prism Fountain. I think that's kind of cool. Eric, this is stuff that, I think you and I are probably on the same page about like old Epcot, and that this is kind of harkening back to that.
It looks great. I love it. I think it's. I can't wait to see when I saw the pictures of Spaceship Earth with the lights on. I thought it was like an artist rendering. I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool too. Anybody else have any comments about the entrance? Because again, a lot of times we'll say things and I'll be a little down or negative about it, and which is weird, because I drink the Kool-Aid and then have another glass. But I'm excited about this one. Like the reflections thing, I get, and it's gone. But I'm excited about this one.
No, this is a cool one. When we were down there recently, we actually spent a bit of time just kind of wandering around the new entrance plaza and kind of soaking in the music, the lighting, the fountain. We even went over and looked at the wall of pictures that used to be the tombstones. But it actually, I think, for the first time in a long time, probably since the tombstones arrived, that it looks like a coherent way to enter the park. It actually looks like a park entrance instead of an obstacle course, and it's nicely done. I think they did a good job.
An obstacle course. I kind of love that. So you're saying it looks good for the first time and forever?
You could say that. Now we got to pay a royalty.
Oh man. All right. So let's talk about this, because now I'm sad again. This was supposed to be this festival center that they were going to be building, and they knocked down Interventions specifically to build this, and then they were like, oops, this isn't going to happen now. Yeah, and they budget cut that. And here's my concern about that, and Kamila, I'm throwing this to you after this, is that they had this plan, and I thought it looked amazing. I was like, yes, it's kind of like a new pavilion. It had that upper level that was all just kind of naturey, and it just felt like what Epcot may be turning into in general. I'm afraid they're going to put something temporary in this space rather than leave it just a war zone and never come back to this project. But I want to get your thoughts on that one.
I hope you're wrong. I hope that they actually pick this exact project back up and they fight to complete it. I agree. I think this could be such a nice addition to Epcot. I remember the Interventions, what was it, like West and East? And I remember when you could go and learn how to ride a Segway. And I don't know, just as a kid, it was always so fun to walk through there and just see what they were up to in there. And I always kind of thought that was such an important part of Epcot, that I'm sad that not only is that gone, but this new project that was supposed to kind of be the new updated version also seems to have been sidelined. I hope they find a way to bring it back, because I think there's a lot that they could do with that space.
Let me stop you there and just say, Rich, when she says intervention, she means Communicore.
Yeah, thank you. I understand.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to
That
make
makes
sure.
Shows
perfect sense.
communicore to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I just wanted to make sure that you knew what she was talking about. This is another thing I'm excited about, and we've been told is still coming, is this statue of Walt at this Dreamer's Point that's supposed to take place in the in the renovated area. Because I mean, I'm all about anything else that's Walt, and I think that's great to have something in there, even though he'll be looking into a park that he didn't. This wasn't what he wanted. He'll still be sitting there going, huh, okay, well, at least y'all built it. Cool. I mean, this, I don't know. I just, again, was in DCA, and, I love the statue of him that they put at the end of Buena Vista Street. This is one I'm looking forward to. And Imagineer, is it Zach who said it's actually still coming?
Zach Ridley, yeah.
Yeah. So that one's fun. This one, the Spaceship Earth, reimagining of Spaceship Earth, good lord, do we need this? Because I feel like, again, kind of like we talked about Mouse Gear and like the temporary, and then Epcot Forever being temporary, that what we have now with Spaceship Earth, with all these animatronics and everything being broken, I desperately want this now. I wasn't sure what this was going to be, but I want it. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was supposed to close May 26th of 2020, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be the last day of that.
Yep.
And they were going to go back and do all this new stuff. Obviously, we would all the ride. If you haven't been on Spaceship Earth recently, pretty rough. Some of the screens work, some of the animatronics work. It could use the refurb. I think the role that attraction plays in the park deserves to be upgraded on a regular basis, and I think that's something that has to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, agreed. Kamila?
And that's just what I was going to say. This ride desperately needs some TLC. The last time I rode it, I was really shocked to see some of the things that, as a guest, I could see where the ceiling was collapsing. I could see, I'm not a construction person, but like just parts of the interior wall that I should not have been able to see, especially on the coming down part where it's like the starry night. But yeah, this ride desperately needs TLC. And I thought what they had showed looked amazing.
Not Left Eye.
Oh, sorry.
T-Bob.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You say it needs TLC. That's the first thing I think about.
That's where you
It
go.
was that waterfall,
Wow.
the journey of waterfalls.
I was about to say, speaking of waterfalls, I had that one queued up, Eric. Thanks for stepping on that one. Don't go chasing waterfalls. This is one, again, that I think is really cool. When you go to that, so all of this was in the Epcot experience, and I feel like everybody on here probably saw the Epcot experience. They've systematically taken scenes out here and there of the...
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, and so this one's still in there, but when Grandma does the whole journey of water, I'm like, goosebumps. Like bring it on. I don't know what it is. Don't know. I mean, it's like you gotta get to play around with water, and if it's in water in Florida, okay, it's gonna be a nice feature to be like a cooler thing to happen. And I do think this is an important IP is to have, because I think Moana is a great movie. I love the music. It's going to be neat to see, and if this creates kind of that the futuristic thing that we're looking for now, which is like a green Earth, I think this will be a neat thing to do. I just don't know where this fits in the whole plan. And Kamila, I see you nod your head a lot.
Can I say, and I don't think people are going to like this, but it is hard to get families with little kids to go to Epcot. Believe it or not, Frozen is not necessarily enough, and I think Disney is very much aware of this. And so if you can I know, I'm sorry, but it really is just the truth. And so if you can take Moana, which little kids know and love, it just kind of helps to build that story, because right now what a lot of parents will do, they'll go to Magic Kingdom, they'll go to Animal Kingdom, they will skip Epcot, and Hollywood Studios is kind of a maybe. So I feel like at least partially Disney is thinking about that and trying to up the profile of this park for everyone.
I mean, they did this. Is this not enough for you? I mean, kids love Figment. That's not enough?
Don't they?
I don't know, but here's the thing about Journey of Water is I don't know when it's coming. Like, it's a thing, and we have reporters in the parks all the time who are taking pictures of the progress of it, because the first progress was to knock down all of Intervention / Communicore on that side, and so that's gone, and now again it looks very Warzone-ish. I'm looking forward to there being something there. But it has been 2 years now since they knocked all that stuff down, and it feels like Epcot has just been walls the entire time. So that's again another one that's a little bit, I don't know. So, all right. So, Eric, you mentioned this one before. Mary Poppins. When I was at D23, they brought out good old Dick Van Dyke. Freaking love him. We just did a Deep in the Plus on Mary Poppins. If you want to check that on our on unplannedDowntime.com. But I love Dick Van Dyke. He's a national treasure. Absolutely awesome. They bring him out on stage to talk about the fact that there's going to be something Mary Poppins at Epcot. No announce of what it is. It's just there's gonna be something, and I'm like, you got Dick Van Dyke out of bed for this, really? Rich, like, what do you know of the Mary Poppins thing other than the fact that it's been removed from the Epcot experience?
That's all there is to know, right? I mean, we did. An artist conception for one of the articles, I can't remember, that was going to talk about that, trying to demonstrate where a building could be put in between some of the service roads and the end of the UK pavilion and all that sort of thing, and how it might be arranged and where the entrance might be. But no, none of that's going to happen. It's like it almost never happened because it's gone from everywhere. Even the old Disney web pages and D23 pages are gone. So it's like it never happened. We were all delusional apparently during that particular period of the presentation.
Well, yeah, very much like the Main Street Theater. It's like or Reflections.
Yeah,
it's just like that never happened. We don't know anything about it.
This is interesting because I saw on Twitter that the only reputable source for any Disney news is the Disney Parks blog, and they clearly talked about this stuff. What happened to it? Were they lying to us?
Okay, I have questions. First of all, what's Twitter? Secondly, is it a safe place to be? Because it sounds fun. I'd like to be there.
Yeah, it's very safe.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No,
it brings out the best in everyone.
So this concept art though that we got, which was not the concept art we got at the expo, this was something we got later, has Lin-Manuel as the lamplighter out there, has Emily Blunt passing out balloons instead of kites. So clearly what we were going to get was new Mary, not OG Mary. But I mean, there was talk of a spinner, but I think originally people think spinner, they think Dumbo, and it's like, what? So with balloons, maybe? I don't know what that was going to be. Also, I kept joking that when they talked about this as an experience, I kept picturing Enchanted Tales with Mary Poppins.
Yep.
You walk
instead of the mirror, you hop on a carousel horse and head on in.
I mean, I guess that's what it is. Obviously, a lot of the announcements they made at this time were about Epcot, because again, they were reimagining it. There was some line he said, more Disney, more something, more Epcot, more family, less money. I don't remember what he said, but it was very convincing. And one of the things they announced was this: Awesome Planet. Now, Awesome Planet exists. It is at the land. Can anyone tell me what the first theater movie in the Harvest Theater was when the park opened?
Oh, God.
Rich knows.
Symbiosis,
exactly.
Symbiosis,
yeah. So it was Symbiosis, and then it was the Lion King movie forever, and now it's Awesome Planet. Kamila, have you seen Awesome Planet?
I have, and I actually think it's wonderful. I think it's really so well done. It's a nice way to kind of approach the concept of conservation and nature and just, how we care about our planet, especially if you've just gotten off living with the land, or Soarin' even. So I actually think the show itself is really well done, considering how many other shows, especially on the World Showcase, are in such desperate need of being redone. France impressions, I'm looking at you. But it's not the only one.
Okay. Any other thought? Eric, let me get your thoughts on Awesome Planet, because my feeling is it's going to be a little opposite of what Kamila just said.
If Awesome Planet is lucky that came out on the same day as Beauty and the Beast Sing Along, because that had me outraged. Right? Beauty and the Beast Sing Along, terrible. Awesome Planet and Canada Far and Wide, kind of underwhelming. I think the film is okay. I think it's like a lot of stock footage. I think it's a little weird. I like their message that it's hopeful. They like to do that. Like, hey, things are really bad, but it's not all. It's not over yet. We can fix this planet. I like that message. I'm not sure I love the film.
Okay, well, I mean, let's speak of these. So, Canada Far and Wide, that was a thing that came out.
Did I get ahead of the class? I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Canada Far and Wide, and also Wondrous China. Both of those were mentioned. One of them existed for a hot minute and it is now a food booth. So, was that a failure, maybe? I mean, I'm feeling like it might have been. Rich, did you get even to see Canada Far and Wide before it went away?
Nope, did not get to see it. So I have no idea whether it was worth having or not.
Well, did you get to see this one?
No, we purposely did not get to see that one.
How dare you, people? How dare you?
I'm so very sorry. No, really.
Here's the thing is, and I'm going to be the naysayer here, that I actually don't dislike Beauty and the Beast sing along. And Eric, we can fight about that later. You can take me.
It is the worst Disney attraction of all time. But other than that, it's great.
But like, I appreciate that Impressions of France is a thing where this is our culture and this is not a rat ride or some weird sing along. And
but
so
from like the 70s.
What I'm trying to tell you is I appreciate that it's there. It was kind of like we were talking about Nemo before. I went once and never needed to go back again. So at least this gave me a reason to go back into that theater and see it. So I didn't hate the Beauty and the Beast.
It's my favorite film there. Yeah. I love Impressions de France. I really do.
Do you
the
really?
Music is spectacular. That has a killer soundtrack. A lot of great French composers. I think it's great.
What I can appreciate about it, though, is that they put both in, right? Is that they didn't get rid of Impressions of France. They put in, the Beauty and the Beast one so that they could swap back and forth. But I'm not a huge fan of that one. But Reflections of China, I also think is a little sleepy. So I was really looking forward to Wondrous China and the fact that it was going to be this seamless circle vision, never been done before thing. Where is it? I mean, the other three movies opened at Festival of the Arts 2019. All three of them opened the same day. It was a magical day for Eric because he got to see all three of them.
All three, bang, bang, bang.
Bang, 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 and they just got worse and worse and worse. I don't know. I don't hate any of this. I love that there's, that at least they were trying new stuff. My only downfall about the ones that exist is that I did prefer the original Canada movie, like the original. Like, I liked that one. And then the Martin Short one was okay. And like, I feel like I really love Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, and I thought this was just kind of I feel like there was.
They do a lot of stuff that's like that has an expiration date, right? Like cheering about the Raptors, we the North. We just like, how long are people going to remember that Raptors won an NBA champion? You know what I mean? It's like, that's like a 1 year thing. I don't know if that's why I don't know. I was in there today, Appleseed Orchard or whatever it's called. It's lovely.
That's the weird thing too, is that it's hardly been there at all, and they were like, you know what, this is going to be better as a food and wine booth. So I think
they just need space. They want to monetize that space.
Yeah, I assume it'll open up again, but at least I got to see it once before it went away. So let's talk about this one. I'm really super excited about the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, but at the same time, again, where is it? Like, we know that they're building it. We see it because it's got those walls up. But I mean, do you think that on October 1st, 2021, they will announce dates for any of these things?
No.
I don't think they'll make an announcement until that thing is a lot closer to opening. They like to make this.
They won't commit.
Yeah, they'll wait till it's a lot closer to being done. I think that seems to make the most sense. That's what they did with Remy, right? It was ready. And then they're like, by the way, we're going to open it in 4 months, even though it's ready.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it just is one of those things where I've just been waiting for it to come back and them say when it'll be open. I think some of these things were supposed to be open already. This one seemed like a good idea at the time, And it's like, oh, you can go into this place and put your hands on stuff that everyone else is putting their hands on all the time. And then the worst thing that could possibly happened with COVID. So, but this one's still in the Epcot experience. They're still talking about the Play Pavilion. They've redone the roof, 50 times for this building since it's
They had to just to save the building. It had nothing to do with the Play Pavilion.
I thought it wasn't 50 times. I thought it was just 50 years, or that they've constantly been doing the roof, or almost 50 years.
Any thoughts about Play Pavilion, guys? Cool.
It
All right.
could be nice. It could be cool.
Here's the thing, though. It
depends on what you're doing.
It's a pavilion that's sitting there doing nothing, and it was a festival center, which they're like, you know what, we don't need this festival center. We're building a new one over here, and now they're not. So I don't know. Go ahead.
They have to do something so good that kids will want to keep coming back. The problem is you do this thing with games, and pretty soon it's almost like, why come to Epcot and experience anything? You can just do all this stuff on a computer. I think they want to, it'd have to be really well done to not be something that a kid can't do something as good on their phone. Because it's just...
Good.
I don't know. I feel like we didn't get enough information about exactly what was going to happen there, and I'm not sure they knew exactly what's going to happen there, right? It kind of looks like Dance Dance Revolution to me in the concept art.
You got a problem with Dance Dance Revolution? No, I'm just kidding.
No, but it's a bit dated, right?
Well, the thing that I look at with this is that it's almost like they moved Innovention's Communicore over to this building, because that's where's the Fire and Habit Heroes and all those things were, is this interactive place where you could go, and maybe this was just a new take on it, and maybe they could swap things out very easily with that. The Edna Mode drawing, I think that was kind of a cool concept, because there used to be the drawing class over at Hollywood Studios, and then that went away, and now they put the one at Conservation Station, Rafiki's Planet Watch, where nobody takes the trek out there anymore. It also looks like a little like some kind of a timeshare talk when they set that up over at Conservation Station. You're like, what is this? Do I want to be here? Oh, we're going to draw Rafiki, and then make me buy DVC. So when they go through and they take all this stuff and they put it in this one place, it looked like it was going to be cool, but we haven't heard anything about this one in a while. And so it's still in the Epcot experience. So, I mean, I'm not really sure when that's going to happen. They also announced this thing. Did you guys ever hear about this? It was called Space 220.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was going to open
It's now Space 320, right? Because it's taken so long to open or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Space 220 is opening tomorrow, so it's finally going to open. At least it opens on a 20th, right? So it opens on 9/20 instead of 2/20/20. It's going to open then. But again, that was something that they talked about, where we've just been waiting for a long time for that to come down. But like I said, there was a lot of Epcot stuff that happened in that, and the last one that they did is, we knew they were going to do a new nighttime show. We didn't know the name of it, and they announced Harmonious. So, the name was really the big reveal, and then a little bit of concept art with it. What you can't see in here is how big the freaking barges are, though. Kamila, talk a little bit.
I'm actually looking forward to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kamila, I think, you've been team Harmonious a little bit, right?
I have, but I will say it is kind of shocking to see how big the barges are in person, especially if you come in through the international gateway and make your way to the front. I mean, seeing them in person, it's like, wow. I mean, they're really big. I hope it's nice. I'm looking forward to Enchantment and Harmonious. I don't really have any expectations. I hope that I like the music, because I feel like for me, that's the thing I connect to the most with all of these fireworks shows. So I'm hoping they're well done. Okay.
Rich, thoughts?
Totally agree that in person, the entire infrastructure for the show is huge and massive and distracting. And I think because even though they've tried to put some fabric on it and whatnot, it's all black and it's all truss work, and it was clearly designed to be used only at night, and yet we have it through the entire day. I mean, if you had painted it ocean water green or sky blue, or the tricks that they know how to do to paint things that are going to be there in the day, wouldn't be as bad, but it's a big, hulking, massive black thing in the middle of Epcot. It's astounding how it draws your eye into the lagoon. It's just amazing in person.
Eric?
Having said that, I am looking forward to Harmonious because I want something to happen there.
I'm actually looking forward to it. I don't know if General Zod is going to appear in the middle of the ring and have us all kneel before him or what, but I think the stuff I've seen looks like it's pretty cool. It's new and innovative. We've seen really Epcot needs something cool because Epcot Forever is so bad. I also am kind of dreading the end of Happily Ever After, so I'm kind of like trying to downplay my expectations for Enchantment, and I think Harmonious has to be better than what they have, and I want to see those giant barges do something other than block my view when I'm walking around Epcot.
And occasionally spurt water.
Yeah. So that's that was a lot again for Epcot. There was a lot of stuff that they talked about, and so much of it we still don't know anything about. They didn't talk about the Brazil pavilion that we thought they were going to, and there were some problems in Brazil, so we get why that didn't happen, and they didn't even announce that. They also didn't talk about the DuckTales interactive game, which again we still don't know where that is. That was supposed to replace Perry the Platypus. So that again, Epcot seems like it. To Kamila, to your point about having things for kids, it seems like it needs something. So I'm glad that we have Ratatouille is coming. I'm glad that we have that Frozen is there, and that they have so many festivals, basically a year-round festival, so that there's some other reason to bring people over there. But I really hope they get some of the rest of this stuff open really quickly. This was announced at D23, something called Disney Genie. Let's not talk about that though, because
save that discussion for another.
It became something completely different.
That's a whole show.
Yeah, they did talk about the Star Wars Hotel a little bit more in detail. We knew some about it because we had some exclusive stuff on WDW&T, but they gave it the name, the Galactic Star Cruiser. They had the model there, all that, and now we know that this is coming spring 2022. I'm not really sure that.
I'll withhold my judgment until I've stayed in each room type, and I can tell you the different benefits and drawbacks of each type of room.
Eric Morton, making it rain. Okay. But so because we're running out of time, let's talk about this one, because one of the other things is they kind of wrapped up. We already knew about Avengers Campus, but they talked about it a lot. There was a whole display at D23. They made announcements about it, gave us a little bit more concept art, and then they gave us this concept art about this e-ticket that was coming, and now it's not.
And you know what? They need something, because Web Slingers is not that good. Like, Web Slingers is a weird not a weird ride, but you can have fun on Web Slingers and be like, I never need to do that again. And so, I like Avengers Campus generally. I think that it's better than having nothing there, and it does feel like a nice addition to DCA. I think it is stunning at night. If you are someone who likes characters, which I know a lot of Disney people are, I mean, I've never seen so many characters, and they do shows, they do stunts, there's acting, there's so much interaction, so many photos. Like, you cannot walk through Avengers Campus and not see 3 characters. I dare you. So I really feel like there's a lot Disney can continue to do. But you've got the Guardians ride, you've got Web Slingers. I feel like it would just be over the top if it could get something else that is not Web Slingers as its e-ticket ride. Yeah, I agree. And keep in mind, though, that at this time when they announced this for California, Galaxy's Edge had opened in California. It had not yet opened in Florida. Like when D23 happened, we were still waiting for Galaxy's Edge to happen in Florida. So they had already moved on to their next land, which was Avengers Campus, which we thought, oh, it's going to be so crazy over at Disneyland with like Star Wars Land. They're going to need to balance it out by having all this really cool stuff over here at DCA. Now I just look at it and go, DCA needs more, and this e-ticket should happen. But I mean, theory is that maybe this will be something that they'll rework into Wakanda and make a Wakanda area in that whole, the Disney Forward movement that they're trying to do to add more stuff out in California. But anyway, they also announced
that, something again we kind of knew was going to happen is that they were going to make a West Coast Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I'm all for that just because it didn't take away anything else. So, yeah. I mean, and maybe they find a way to make the animatronics a little bit less what they are, and then put that back into the one in California. I mean, in Orlando. They also announced this, which was the first time we heard the name of this parade, Magic Happens.
Oh.
They announced Magic Happens,
R.I.P.
and then it didn't. I mean, so just
Magic happens.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Magic happens. Did you ever get to
Except when it doesn't.
Did you ever get to see that one in person, Kamila?
I did not. So the weekend that the parks closed, I was supposed to travel that weekend, and that was going to have been my first chance to see it, and the rest was history. But yeah, so I never got to see it in person.
Womp womp. Okay. Rich, any thoughts on Magic Happens?
Nope, absolutely nothing.
Sweet.
I mean, magic. Well, okay. Editorial magic used to happen. It doesn't seem to happen as much.
Ooh. I need to.
I don't like this.
Yes, thank you.
So, so some other stuff that we know did happen is Tom went and out of the kindness of his heart, he went and reviewed this Marvel hotel, and everything we've heard is that it was just kind of awesome, right? So, I mean, at least there's something to happen. Although Eric's making a face again. Have you heard other things?
Yeah, so Axel went and stayed there. I would say that the suites are awesome, and the regular rooms are not so great. But that's just not. I'm not going to say garbage, but they're like very expensive for value resort type of quality. I would say is what I was told.
Huh. Okay.
But the suites are really cool.
Yeah, just this week, Tom was talking about the music, the score for this, and how good that is, and a lot of it looked really neat online. So I don't know when the time is I will ever get there. I feel like Tokyo's higher on my list than this one is, but it's neat that they have it. And there's a lot of other stuff under construction there with their Avengers Campus and so on. Something else, because Parks and Resorts for some reason is locked into product, is that they announced that they were going to add this really cool feature to all these Target stores. My Target doesn't have this. Does
look, it's a Create Shop.
Yeah. Does anybody else's Target have this? My Target doesn't have this.
I don't go to Target.
We have one that has it almost just like that.
Really? That has the Disney stuff?
Similar. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's cool.
Go ahead.
I will say, I actually think of, some of the, I feel like, Chapek, and who knows if he's really the one that came up with this idea, but he's certainly the one that takes all the blame, deservedly so sometimes. But I actually feel like this is a decision that I think was smart and made a lot of sense. I think a lot of the Disney stores, unfortunately, really just were not getting the traffic that they needed to justify brick and mortar store expenses around the country. And so going into Target, which is a company they already had a partnership with, and, a lot of the, Disney parents, Target is their favorite, and they're running to Disney already for, the dollar items and so many other things. And so now, once these actually get up and running, I just think this makes so much sense. And, I think there are people who maybe would have gone to a Disney store but weren't, but they're definitely going to Target. And, this is a great way to get more of that merch in front of those people. So I actually think this makes a lot of sense. Although I was nostalgic for the Disney store. I used to go to mine down the street, I don't know, a couple times a month and just kind of check what they had. It was great to be able to run there. So I'm ready for these to get up and running in Targets.
My only problem is that I feel like this was the nail in the coffin for the Disney store, and maybe that was the plan all along, because at that point we didn't know how many they were going to close, or that they were going to close all of them. I miss those days like you were talking about with the Disney store. It was an event to be able to go to one, because not every mall had one, and there was all kinds of cool stuff there. Although I will say that a lot of times we just went to visit and we didn't really buy anything, and maybe that's the problem, is that people would just go and visit and not buy anything. So I'm definitely going to miss that. Just a couple more I want to run through is this place has been dark for quite a while, and Drawn to Life is finally coming back. So, I mean, we know that's coming in November, which seems weird that they wouldn't have tried to push that a little bit to happen with the October 1st celebrations with everything else they're doing. Have you heard anything else about that, Eric?
No, I'm just looking forward to having something to give more life to that the west side there, because now with the NBA experience failing miserably, it's still kind of a hit or miss ghost town down there. I'd love to have more of a better vibe down there, people going through there and more stuff going on.
And then finally, they announced the name of the fifth ship, which was going to be the Disney Wish. So we know that, and we've heard a lot more about that since then. But they also, Lighthouse Point was announced. I don't know where we are with that. Kamila, do you know where things are with that island? Is that going to happen with the Wish?
I have not heard anything about Lighthouse Point. I mean, obviously, you know, we're already booking for the Disney Wish. I think the Disney Wish looks amazing. And I mean, I'm excited. Like, the only thing I hate about the Disney Wish is where it goes. I wish it went somewhere a little more exciting than the Bahamas or this private island. But I understand that a lot of people do like these. They like Castaway Cay. But yeah, no, I have not heard anything about Lighthouse Point, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were still kind of working on that behind the scenes, because I do think Disney runs into some issues with their current contract that they have with the Bahamas on Castaway Cay, especially like right now it's kind of highlighted with like the COVID issues. And I think they'll have a little bit more control over what they can and can't do with this new island. And I'm excited that they describe it as like a totally fantasy experience. Joe Rohde is involved. So I have high hopes, and I hope it is still happening.
I love that it's the Disney Wish, and you said you wished it went somewhere else. I mean, I feel like you were like
not that exciting.
You were dragging them without doing so. So
it seems like when somebody builds a bigger, badder cruise ship, that they are getting the workhorse itineraries around the Caribbean, right? The Bahamas and these things, and the smaller, more agile ships like the Magic and the Wonder always get to go to the more fun places like Alaska and Norway, and
because they can't make
British
it through the canal,
Isles,
right? Is that the deal? They can't make it through the Panama Canal?
Yeah.
Because what I understood was that the Magic and the Wonder were built specifically to size, like within like a foot or two, to be able to go through the canal, whereas these other ships were built to just stay where they are. I could be wrong.
I mean, the canal's just a shortcut. It doesn't keep you from going somewhere. But anyway.
But I mean, I think the ship, if it's too big, can't make it through
yeah.
there. Didn't they have to dig something out recently?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So let me just to wrap it up.
That was a Suez Canal. Yeah.
I just want to go around one more time. Just final thoughts on all this. So again, we pretty much went through everything. So again, sorry for running a little long on that, but it's just been like, I mean, again, it's been 2 years and 1 month since all this was announced. Some of it's happened and it looks great, like the Epcot entrance. Some of it hasn't happened yet, and we don't know when it's going to happen, like Journey of Water or Cosmic Rewind. And some of the stuff, like Reflections, we know have been canceled, and then some of the stuff, like the e-ticket, just kind of disappears. So, you know, again, let me start with you, Eric, and go around the hub with final thoughts on this one.
Hey, they've promised a lot of stuff, but magic happens. You know how life is. So maybe magic means something it didn't used to mean. I don't know. I'm excited for the stuff that is happening. I understand there are legitimate reasons, and also, you know, due to the state of the world right now, for some of these things not happening. Other things, who knows why they're not happening. We may get them in the future. I'm trying to be excited and positive about the things that are happening. We're only a couple weeks away from tons of, you know, we're getting Kite Tales, and we're getting Harmonious, and we're getting Enchantment, and we're getting Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and we're getting these delightful crepes. So lots of good stuff happening, trying to focus on a positive. But yeah, I can't wait for Destination D23 in a few weeks to see what else maybe gets announced. And we'll circle back in 2 years and see how we did on those.
No, I agree. There's a lot of positive things that are happening. So we definitely want to make sure that. So, Rich?
I'm disappointed that some of the things that were talked about and presented aren't coming around. But as Eric said, that's life. I mean, in real life, we pitch things that, you know, work and everything and family, and you know, no time, no money, different priorities, things change. We don't know the future, and that's okay. What I'm and I'm looking forward to some of the things that are coming. I want to see Harmonious. Definitely, I want Epcot to be done and not a construction zone. But I'm still a little disappointed with some of the implementation of the things that they did decide to go forward with. I'm still annoyed with just the philosophy that apparently is behind the backstage stuff with Harmonious Barges, for example. I'm a little unhappy and unsatisfied with some of the way that the improvements and ongoing decorations are happening. Although having any decorations for the 50th is probably okay. So yeah, I too am looking forward to seeing what happens at the next expo and what gets announced, and we'll play this game all over again and see what becomes reality and see what doesn't.
Well, it's as they say. Kamila?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been really pleasantly surprised with some of the projects that they have finished. Avengers Campus, I enjoyed much more than I thought I would. I was not particularly excited for that, but I really enjoyed my time there. Go there during the day, but definitely make it a chance to go there at night. If you know what Cars Land is like at night, Avengers Campus is just as pretty, and the theming I think really pops at night. The Disney Wish, I feel like also, I mean, from everything we've seen so far, they've done a spectacular job with that. I'm not surprised because I really do think Disney cruises are just on another level, and I think that's one place where they really don't spare any expense to make it really well done. I think you have to at the prices that they're charging compared to their competitors. But I feel like the one problem child is Epcot, and there's still just so much construction there, so much that's up in the air. And I feel like Epcot is so fantastic that, I talk to families all the time, and, that's the one park where I have to convince people consistently that it's actually worth it to go. I think it's special. I hope Disney can kind of find a way that this park markets itself the way that the other parks mostly do.
Yeah. And you know what? I agree with you guys that the stuff they've done, I've been excited about. I'm excited about the things to come. I just want to know when on some of these things. And so hopefully they'll make some of those announcements on the 50th. Hopefully. I mean, I feel like it's a good time to do it, right? Because they're going to have all eyes are going to be on them. They're going to want to talk about all the stuff that they've got ready for the first, and then they're going to want to say what's next. And at this point, they've got a lot of things that are already in progress that they can brag about and talk about that could be coming. I agree with you, Kamila. I like Avengers Campus. There are a lot of people who are a little indifferent on it. I think that e-ticket would have been the way to seal that whole land up. But, we'll see what happens, and if they get to do some kind of an expansion of with Wakanda or whatever. So I want to drop in that if you guys are looking for to take a trip to a Disney park, that our official travel sponsor is the Vacationeer. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent, the Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. So sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip, because magic happens. The best part is their services are free: hotels, park tickets, and much more. Visit WDWNT Travel for travel for details. And then also want to remind you guys about the Golden Jamboree, which is our celebration of the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World that's coming up. If you guys aren't going to be able to make it locally, we actually have a digital ticket you can buy. There are going to be a lot of cool panels with Disney Imagineers and getting groups of like the Comedy Warehouse folks back together and the Adventurers Club, and all of that is going to be available to stream. You can get more information on goldenjamboree.com, but it's just a $20 ticket, and you can view it for like 30 days, and it's your way of actually being there and being present with everything. So thank you guys for letting us go long tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed the topic. We're going to be back next week to talk about the 50th, and then the week after that, we're going to take the weekend off so that we can focus on the 50th, and then the weekend after that, we'll be talking about only the 50th probably. So, it's been 50 years in the making. There's a lot to talk about. Again, I think that they're really doing a good job with the things they're bringing to the table. So, next week we'll talk about not only the best ways to enjoy the 50th if you're coming down, but we'll also talk about kind of our memories of the 50th over the 50 years and some of the great things that have happened over the time. So hopefully you'll join us for that next week. And if you are a WIGS member, part of our Patreon program, we have a post show for you guys. So we will see you guys over in the post show. If you need to know more about the WIGS program, it is patreon.com/WDWNT. So again, thank you guys on the panel. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys at home for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Sing along.
Dun, 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 dun.